Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. So although we've had a fair few leaks and rumours about the upcoming World Eaters Codex, it seems today we've had a bit more information appearing over on Reddit, which has given us a bit of a better look at one of the brand new models coming with the release, and that is of course the stunning new Lord on Juggernaut, which was shown off a little while ago, and who is called Lord Invocatus. Now, I don't know whether his name is Invocatus and he is Lord Invocatus, or if it's just a title and he is just a Lord Invocatus. I have no idea at this point. I don't think we know one way or the other, but either way, we now have a better idea of his rules, his stat line, and his abilities, so let's dive right in and take a look. From some earlier leaks, we knew that he would be coming in at 160 points, and for that we get a relatively tasty 12-inch move, weapon and ballistic skill 2+, strength and toughness of 6, a mighty 8 wounds, 7 attacks, leadership 9, and a helpful 2-up save. It is overall a fairly solid stat line for his points, and it really will allow you with that movement to get around the board nice and quickly, and then when you get into melee, really bring the hurt with those 7 attacks to any opponent that you want to charge him into. To help him out when he does reach combat, he not only has his Juggernaut's bladed horns, which give you an extra 3 attacks at strength user, -2 AP and 1 damage, so yes, he does have 10 attacks in total just from his base profile, which is kind of awesome. And then his main weapon, the Coward's Bane, is his axe, and this grants you a strength user -3 AP 2 damage profile, which crucially doesn't allow your enemy to make invuln saves against those attacks. So this really is going to be absolutely fantastic at cleaving through those characters that rely on those 4 or 5 up invulnerable saves, or other units like Custodes that just have a load of invuns across their army. And then of course, with the almost confirmed by now removal of Armour of Contempt coming in the next balance data slate, you are really going to be great at just demolishing all the units that had that before, with your -3 AP becoming much more relevant again. And just from the axe alone, this guy can expect to kill off 3 Primaris Intercessors, and that is before you take into account the bladed horn attacks or any other buffs or abilities or bonuses that he or the World Eaters in general are sure to get in their new codex. So he really can certainly blend his way through quite a lot of enemies as he charges in. The Lord Invocatus, as mentioned, does have that 2-up save, which is really great on a Khorne unit. They tend to just be stuck with 3-up saves like Khorne, so seeing a 2-up is really nice. He does also come with a Sigil of Corruption, which grants him a 4-up invuln as well. So he does have 8 toughness 6 wounds with a 2-up 4-up to keep him going, which I mean is not anything amazing in the current state of 9th edition, but it is a fairly sturdy defensive profile for his points cost, I do think. And I think when you take that into consideration, as well as the fact that he does have less than 10 wounds, so will be benefiting from Lookout Sir, he will almost certainly be able to make it into combat and reach your enemy's battle lines to start chopping his way through your opponent before they can get rid of him. Elsewhere, he also has the Blood Tithe and Warp Strike rules, Blood Tithe being the rumoured set of buffs for the World Eaters that are coming in their codex, where you, from what I've seen and read, it's similar to what the Blood Tithe was for the Khorne Demonkin and also for current Blades of Khorne, where you get points for killing stuff or being killed, and then you can basically generate those points and spend them on various buffs or abilities, things like +1 attack or extra strength, or that kind of thing. There is also one to apparently bring Angron back from the dead, so that is probably one most people are going to want to be saving up for. So this guy will be able to generate those points and also benefit from them. Warp Strike, I don't think we know what that does yet, at least not in any of the leaks or rumours that I've seen or read about. I could be wrong, and if I am, do let me know down in the comments what it does, but as far as I know, I don't think we know what exactly that does yet, but presumably it's going to be some way to make his combat even more potent, make his melee swings even more deadly, or at the very least maybe get into combat a bit more reliably. So that is going to be another cool little ability for him. The final ability that he has on his datasheet is a very awesome aura, and it's one that we haven't really seen that much before. This is called Leading the Charge, and this grants all friendly core units within 6 inches an extra 2 inches of movement when they are chosen to move, which for any army is really useful for getting around the board, but for a pure melee army like the World Eaters is going to be a huge boost to your ability to get into combat, a huge boost to your threat range, and it really is going to allow you to almost guarantee turn 2, potentially even some turn 1 charges, depending on what other tricks and abilities you can pull off in this codex. And talking of tricks and abilities, there's one right here, because if you take this guy as your warlord, his trait, the Road of 8 Bloody Steps, allows you at the start of the first battle round, before the first turn, to choose 2 core units within 9 inches of him, and they get to make a free move. Bear in mind, this should in theory still benefit from that aura, so you are essentially going to be getting an 8-inch pre-game move on 2 units of Berserkers, and that is going to really allow you to line up at least 2 units for a potential turn 1 charge, which, as I said before, for a melee army like the World Eaters is an insanely strong ability to bring to the board. Overall, I think this guy seems decently killy. Like, there's nothing super amazing from, his attacks, like they're damage 2 at the end of the day. Yes, they ignore invuns, but they're nothing super terrifying, but they are decently killy for his points. Where his real power comes in for me is in those movement bonuses that he brings to your army, essentially giving 2 units a pre-game move and then letting anything core within 6 inches essentially get that extra 2 inches of movement over the course of the game. Like, across 5 turns, that's essentially 10 inches of extra movement to anything core within 6 inches of him. So it's going to allow your army to really get through that deadly no man's land so much quicker and into charge range much quicker. And then if you're going for objectives later on or just trying to get into better position, you are going to have a much easier time doing it. For an army that does need to get into melee and is basically melee only, that is just such a big bonus, and it really can mean all the difference between getting those turn 1 charges off and also being able to get in range of those objectives when you really need them. So I do think the Lord Invocatus is going to be quite a linchpin in some very nasty Death Star-esque style armies where you just have 1 or 2 really powerful units that you have lined up for a turn 1 charge, and you can just advance them up, get into combat as soon as humanly possible, and then either just wipe out a huge chunk of your opponent's list, or at the very least tie up a huge line of their gun line and allow the rest of your army to get up the board, get through no man's land much more safely, and then into position for more charges on turns 2 and 3 and 4. So I personally really like him. I think he's got a great model, I really love it. I think for his points cost, he's got a decent combination of damage output, survivability, and like army buffing. So I do think he is going to be a really great, relatively cheap HQ to allow your combat force to just be more effective at doing what it does best. So I really like him, and I think if I was collecting a World Eaters force, I would definitely be getting one, and I would be very strongly considering making him my warlord just for that warlord trait. But as always, what do you make of this guy? Do you think his rules are worth 160 points? And also, what do you think his Warp Strike ability is going to end up doing? If we know what it does already, as I said, please do let me know, but at least I haven't seen anywhere a description of what it does. So what do you think it is going to do? Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.